this is the day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Once again, we have come to your home. We have come to your phone, through your computer, through your gadget, whatever gadget you may be using. We have come in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. And we come to you through Open Talk. And in Open Talk, you talk or I talk. We hear one another because we are members of one family. We are together, and the aim of Open Talk is to bring in information, education, correction, reproof, or something, or whatever, and to give you nuggets in life from our guests. And the guests we have had have been very, very tremendous, and they have been of great, great help. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your text messages. Please do not hesitate. Tell me if you are with us. Whatever you are watching from, whatever you are following from, just send a text, send a comment, and let us know where you are watching from, and the Lord will bless you. You can also tag somebody, send them the link so that they can be able to follow, because we have a very, very special guest tonight. The guest who's been here before, but is a special guest because he has come from the farthest of the father of far. The farthest of far. That's where he's come from. And he is with us tonight to speak into our hearts. And this is none other than Reverend Steve Kamau. Reverend Steve Kamau is a minister of the gospel, an ordained minister of the gospel, and ministers in the diaspora. He ministers in the diaspora, and we are going to have diaspora news. So, Reverend Steve, would you want to say jumbo to our viewers this evening?
Thank you, Bishop Mark. It's really wonderful to be with you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, and thank you for inviting me back again. I'm honored to be here. For those who are viewing tonight, we want to welcome you to Open Talk on this Wednesday night. I'm excited to be here to share a few things, few experiences of my life, and I know you will be blessed. And it's always wonderful to be here.
Thank you so much. We're so grateful that you are able to come and be with us, even on a brief notice.
Thank you.
Or short notice, but you're able to come and be with us.
Appreciate it.
I want you to know that we value you. We value you. And your last time here was a big blessing to so many viewers. A lot of people remember of a certain railway engineer who was looking for a university graduate, self-made railway engineer.
Yes.
We all remember that. It was so exciting. But the more exciting story was that from a hawker, God is able to lift up somebody and make them a vessel unto honor.
Yes.
A vessel unto honor that God can use, so that anybody there would know that nobody is useless in the eyes of God.
Absolutely none.
And it is so encouraging. And just because there could be some who are not there, who did not listen to you last time, would you tell us who is Reverend Steve Kamau? Who is Steve Kamau?
Reverend Steve Kamau is a Form 4 failure.
That's a good one.
And I told my father when I failed badly in Form 4 that failing in an exam is not failing in life.
Right.
And although my father was a policeman, he told me that's a very good confession. And I have lived up to that. And because I was not book smart then, I can't say that now, but then I decided now I'm going to work harder, extra harder, so that I can make it happen. So I started business at a very early age. Whatever I could find to sell that was legal, I was looking for someone who can buy. And that became the way I lived my life. And I have always known that poverty is not permanent.
It's not permanent.
No.
You know, you just said something very powerful that you told your dad. that you have failed the exam.
Yes.
But failing an exam does not mean failing in life.
No.
Just the other day, the education CS released the results for the Form 4 results. So there's kids outside there who are very devastated because they did not do the way they expected.
Right.
There are parents who are feeling embarrassed because their children did not do what they expected them to do. And I think that would be a big encouragement if you let them know again.
You know, it's interesting because the culture trains people that there's only one way to succeed. But the truth is, there are many ways to succeed. And so someone may fail in an exam, but turn out to be a great business person, turn out to be someone who is an entrepreneur and begins to create things from out of nothing and bring them into being. So failing in an exam, yes, I know it's disappointing for you and you're feeling like your world has come to an end. I was being told about a young man who has not left the house because they're depressed because they failed in an exam. I want you to know that you failed, yes, but you're not a failure. You are a success. Failing in an exam does not make you a failure. In fact, if you pick up yourself and begin to think, because the biggest thing about life is how much can you think? Then oftentimes what you need to succeed is not too far away from where you are. And when you begin to operate within that level of expecting God to help you navigate your life by not relying on an exam, because there are also people who do very well in books, but end up frustrated because they're thinking, I passed every exam and yet I don't have a job. So they begin to blame the society for failing in life because I passed my Form 4, I passed my university, primary school I passed, and now I'm waiting for the nation to open doors for me, but nobody seems to open the door for me. There's a cause for depression. There's a cause to be frustrated. But I want you to know that all those things, though they be good, they cannot be the ones that determine how your life will turn out. You have to be the one to decide that avenue did not work. There must be another avenue that I can follow and make it happen. And that's what I did. When I failed the exam, my father, the only thing he could get for me is a job right here at Kenyan Railways. And I was hired to be a watchman.
Watchman.
From high school
to a watchman.
To a watchman. And they sent me. You
didn't think about the guys you went to school with, seeing you in police?
No, it did not bother me. Because what I did is early on in life, I got delivered from the opinions of people. It's none of my spiritual business what anybody thinks about me. Yes, don't care. So, and don't care in a good way. I'm not careless, but I really will not stop doing what I'm convicted to do because someone else may have an opinion about it. And I met a few guys who told me, hii ndio kazi tunaweza kufanya nani? Na wananichekelea tu. Guys, sometimes they'll make you feel bad about it. Yeah. Nakuta mtu ananikuta hapo Mudhurwa na hana gari ananiambia nimfungulie gate. Hiyo ni madhara out. Najua hiyo ni madhara. So, but then I was faithful. It didn't bother me one bit. I did. Because it's important to recognize that where you are is not where you will always be.
Right.
Where you are is actually a stepping stone to where God is taking you. And because life is not a destination, it's a journey, then you get excited about the process. Because you can't be in a place where you now feel, I have arrived. There's no place like that. The only place people fully arrive is in the grave because you don't move any farther.
Yeah.
But as long as you're still living, it doesn't matter how many millions you make. It doesn't matter how far you are, you feel you are, there's still an opportunity and a room for you to grow. And as long as your mind is intact, then you will keep progressively growing in your journey. And that's what I had to teach myself. in those days.
So how long did you work as a watchman? You have any?
I did that for 5 years.
5 years?
Yes, sir. But I was still doing hawking.
Oh.
So after 3 years, I decided this 400 and something shillings was not enough. So after nikuenda Kikomba nanunua mtumba. Tulikuwa tunaita camera siku hizo.
Camera. Okay.
You go very early in the morning. About 5 in the morning. By the time they are opening, so you get the special one. Iron it. And then naitembeza huko.
Okay.
Kwa mabar, kwa masaloon. Kutoka Kikomba, my route was go all the way up to Westlands and then walk to Kibera.
Wow.
Yes.
Then you, in the evening, that's when you are watching.
Then in the evening, niko kazi ya watchman.
Wow. Okay. And that did not prevent you from becoming who you have become.
It did not. It did not. Because again, the life we live is a journey. It's a journey.
Yeah.
And as long as you are not feeling like the world owes you, but that you feel you owe the world.
Yes.
Because sometimes we feel like the world ought to give me, but there's nothing here to be dished out. The world, actually, you owe the world for the purpose for which you're brought here. So when you wake up with that understanding that I owe it to myself to leave this world a better place, then you wake up with that and you do better for yourself. But most people, especially young people, they feel like, hey, I got good grades. That's all I have to do. I passed my exam. That's all I have to do. That's all my parents wanted me to do, and I did that. So they get frustrated when the world does not open doors for them. The world doesn't open doors. You open the doors for yourself.
So don't wait for the world or anybody to open a door for you.
You open it.
You go open the door yourself.
Yes. Remember the Bible says knock.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knock and it shall be open.
So you've got to take a step.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because faith is actually about that. Being able to take the first step. Once you take the first step, then things happen. And then when the door doesn't open, most people give up.
So what made you quit your watchman job?
Because my business started, it didn't make sense. That did not make sense. Yeah. Because at the time I have 2 children and I'm still a watchman. And the business here is earning more than what I'm being paid. So it made more sense to concentrate on business.
Okay.
Yes.
And
so
that was the hawking business?
That was a hawking business.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you? Did you have any experiences with the county government, the municipal, or the city council?
Oh yes, my footprints are in every police cell in Nairobi. Every police cell. Yeah. Parklands police. Where else?
Kamukunji.
Central. Kamukunji. All those places. Every police cell. My wife, she didn't see me home on Friday night. She would wait Saturday, and Sunday she would come to every police cell looking for me because there were no cell phones to call. And she would eventually find me in one of them.
Wow.
Yeah, she knew where to find me.
Where you were taken by the
Kanjo. And they took me in.
Okay.
Yeah, for selling on the streets.
Oh, wow. How did you end up in America?
Okay. I actually, by the time I was going to the US, I was doing very well here in Kenya.
What is this you are doing very well?
I was doing electronics.
Oh.
In Thika Town. I also had a business in Kikuyu. I also had a business in the Old Nation House.
Okay.
So I was doing well. So I said to my family, let me go see how this famous USA is. So I had no intentions of going to settle there. No. No intentions whatsoever.
Okay.
So I went over by myself 6 months and came back. My wife said, no, I think we need to go. And by God's grace, the doors opened where we were able to get early on green cards at the time. And I was not for the idea of going at the time. Because I'm a Kikuyu man. I'm supposed to tell my wife what to do. But I think that's only in the books, because she actually ends up telling me what to do. My wife said, now we are going. Yeah, of course. You only resist a little bit, and then you just conform. So I resisted a little bit, but we ended up going. We landed there with 3 children.
Okay.
The baby was 2 months old. So that I had gone in 98, 99 is when we finally went with the family. So I'm landing there with 3 children, landing in the U.S. and we have an infant which is 2 months old, and we don't know anything about schooling. The system there, we don't know, and we don't have any. Remember, we are used to having house help here, and now we have to take care of everything. So the idea of being able to go and work 2 or 3 jobs and work day and night was very challenging, because I'm coming from being an employer in Kenya and to become an employee. I'm the one who tells people what to do. Now I'm being told what to do. And I started off from a job at a fast food restaurant, Burger King. Now, my biggest experience was I'm standing up for 8 hours, and I'm used to sitting down. So 8 hours standing and serving. I'm like, are there no chairs here? There's no place to sit. And then from there, another job at night in a warehouse where I'm standing another 8 hours. So it can become very challenging. And it was very challenging for us because now we are not seeing each other as we used to. I am coming from a job to another job. So by the time I come home, I'm not good for anyone. Not good for my children, not good for my wife, because I'm tired. And then I sleep for 4 hours and get ready to go again. And the cycle continues. So the older children started saying, I wish we can go back. Because they're also going through challenges of being in school in a foreign country. They are speaking English, but the English that we speak in Kenya is completely different from the English they speak in the U.S. They were schooling in the city, in Wilmington. And there is a slang there, or sheng, that they speak there that you don't even know what they're saying. And so it was very frustrating for them. Very frustrating. A very unfriendly environment. So we have challenges at home because we're trying to make a living. I'm not living in my own house because we sold everything and bought air tickets. So when you're buying all those tickets, I don't have enough money. So we are being hosted. And you think about hosting 5 people suddenly. My brother-in-law hosted us. So by the time we can gather ourselves together so we can get our own house, it's 6 months later. That was very challenging. And so it was not easy for the children. It was not easy for my wife. It was not easy for me. But again, working hard and having the work ethic for me is not an option. It's something that I enjoy doing. And I looked at it as a challenge. What can I do? I remember one time I was going home and I'm on Route 40. It's a highway. Na nimesimama kwa mataa na nimelala.
Oh.
You think about you in the lights. Umelala. Yeah. So
you are gone.
I'm gone. Yeah. Because after doing 2 jobs, it doesn't matter how I used to put loud music, and I was even pinching myself. So I stay awake on the steering, screaming so the sleep doesn't come. But when sleep comes,
It has come.
When sleep comes, it has come. So I woke up on Route 40. I'm sleeping at the lights. But there was a nice lady who was right behind me. She put hazards on her car, and she stayed there until I woke up.
Oh, is that so?
And she came to my window. She said, I know you're tired. I'll follow you to your house.
Oh.
A stranger. She followed me to the house. And she helped me out. Wow. So that goes to say that I was exhausted because of overworking and sleeping less. I was working in a cold room. In this cold room, I used to have like 2 jackets, 3 trousers, 4 pairs of shoes and boots and a hoodie because it was -6.
Wow.
-6 to -10 degrees. And well, I'm working there for 8, sometimes 10 hours inside.
Wow.
And the hands are swollen, everything. So by the time I'm leaving there, I'm completely exhausted.
So you get into your car and you put the heater on.
I put the heater on. But the time, and it's not a long drive. It's maybe 20 minutes drive. But that's enough to get me to sleep.
Wow. Wow.
So those are basic challenges of just being in the diaspora.
And you went on a green card.
I went on a green card.
Not some of those who are dropped in the US by parents.
Yes.
And the parents are expecting you to receive some money. You know, that's something that maybe something you need to mention so that the parents here would be able to have an idea of what their children are going through in the US instead of expecting them to receive cash. And there is also this myth. I don't know if it's a myth or is a story of the trees that produce fruits, which is the dollar.
Yes.
The dollar fruit.
Yes.
I don't know whether you ever saw that.
I've never seen the tree.
Oh, okay.
Never seen it. I heard about it, but I have never seen a single tree producing the green US dollars.
The greenbacks.
No. But it's actually a lot of stories that I've heard, and this is very serious, about how people will always, every single week, they're sending stories of challenges from Kenya and expecting money to come from their loved ones back there. And it is, I can tell you stories and stories. There's one lady who was sending money to her own father to build her an apartment building. And she did that for 12 years.
12 years.
12 years sending money to the father, biological father. And then she said, I finished the building, and she got pictures, and she didn't have papers. She decided, let me just go back now to Kenya. That rent will sustain me, only to get home. And baba anamwambia, nyumba gani? Kwani unafikiri sisi ndio tunafanyia kazi hapa? There was nothing built. But she was getting pictures from ground level to finish.
From her own father?
From her own father. The next day she had committed suicide. She died.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Too bad.
Wow.
Too many stories of, too many stories that we hear of people who just never even sleep, trying to sustain the lives of their family members here. Now, the big thing is the husbands do not want to go to the U.S. because they do not want to work. The wives now gone to the U.S. And the husbands and some of the teenage children and university graduates stay in Kenya. And the wives work 3-4 jobs and send money here to the husband and the children. And the husband and the children do not want the wife to come back because the link will be cut. And so we find those kind of people frustrated, tired. Some of them leave 3 or 4 people in a single room and live without enjoying any life. In fact, some of them don't even know how a mall looks like because they come from work to work. They have a bed they never sleep in. And all they're doing is working and trying to make their life better. There's nothing worse than trying to become Jehovah Jireh for your family. I'm not against helping because I do that a lot. I'm not against giving, but I'm against someone trying to become all things to all people. It's not possible. And so they get frustrated. And years later, it doesn't work out. And I just think sometimes people don't even dare to look at the situations that they're addressing back in Kenya when they're in the U.S. And also the people in Kenya have a lot to say about their challenges in Kenya, which could be true or not true. But you cannot expect someone, just because they're in the U.S., to address all the issues of the family.
Okay, so you are now in the U.S. Your children are in school.
Yes,
you are working 2 jobs. How is life treating you at that time?
Life was challenging, but after some time, I decided to go back to business because once a businessman, always a business.
I hear so.
Man. So, so I started a dealership selling cars. Was very successful. I started a home health agency. Was very successful. I sold it out. Now I'm in real estate and I'm preaching.
Okay.
So that to me is rewarding. Finding opportunities of how you can have. Instead of working for money, how money can begin to work for you. That has always been my model of how is it that money can work for me. And so that's where we are. Our children are now grown. The last born is graduating university in a few weeks from now. Looking forward to that graduation party. The twins, who were 10 years old when we left. They're about 33 now. Yes, and so they've grown. They're able to take care of themselves. And sometimes give me some money to spend, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. Yes.
Okay. Now, what can you tell somebody who is yearning to go to America because they think life there is easier than in Kenya?
I think life is what you make it, no matter where you go. I have seen one lady. She came to the U.S. and she couldn't even clean her own clothes, so she had 2 bedrooms. So one room was for dirty clothes. Pile. Zikipata chafu ananunua zingine.
She couldn't clean because she was lazy or she didn't have time?
No. Because sometimes when parents have money, they do not allow their children to work at home. Just because someone has a house help, they do not allow their children to get the work ethic. Where now a child can clean their own clothes, they can take care of them, so they don't have the work ethic. So when you take that child, and now they are 18 or 20, and you ship them back to the U.S., that child will not change just because of the environment, if you haven't trained them. And so that girl was not used to that. Eventually, she had to come back. The parents called her back to Kenya after many years because she didn't have the work ethic. So if someone doesn't have the work ethic where they are, if a teenager is waking up at 12 and na mama anauliza mtoto na akona 25 kama amekula, that child, if they fly out to the U.S., they will not change. They will not change. People who have money, they're still sending money to their children back to the U.S. people who do not have money, they are frustrated when they get to the US and they cannot work. So it starts by developing a good work ethic where you recognize that I have to work hard no matter where I am. And I tell people, if you can't find a job, volunteer to work. Give yourself and find a place where you can volunteer your services, because if you're waking up to something, it's more meaningful than when you're waking up to nothing. So for that one person that wants to go out, obviously there are more opportunities. I wouldn't deny that. There are more opportunities, there's more work. I mean, unemployment rate of 5% compared to what we have in Kenya, that's huge. So there's work to do. But it comes with deciding that, hey, I want to work. And if you're willing to work, people are going to hire you. But mzungu, ukikata kufanya kazi, getting fired is very easy. Yeah. Yeah, they just call you back to the office. I'd like to see you for a minute. Yeah, we no longer need you. And you're not needed. Yeah, because you have to produce.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. We have parents here who took their children to school. And within a short time, they are writing letters to them to send money.
Yes.
And then we have students on the other end who, as soon as they got there, they discovered that the room they are staying in has a carpet. And there is a fridge. And they took pictures and sent them back home. And here when you go into a house which has a carpet, it means they have enough to eat and to spare. So the parents look at the photos sent by their children, and they conclude my child, my son, or my daughter has enough to eat and to spare, and even to buy a carpet, or even to put food in a fridge. So they start asking,
making demands.
Yes, I don't know if there is any association in the US that receives Kenyans or who come into the diaspora to orient them or give them some orientation of their life in the US. Is there any?
No, there is not. There's none. You really have to. The US is, or any country, because I've done work in Dubai. Any country that you go to, it's very important who receives you. So if the person that's receiving you is not the right person, then you will struggle. If you find someone, like I have hosted a lot of people in my house, students, people who have migrated, and I host them in my house. Number one, I tell them, this is how things are done here. And this is how long I'm going to keep you. And this is what I expect. So I make it clear, and I help them to begin to make things work. But obviously, living in a foreign country is not easy because things are done differently. The challenges that we face are completely different from the challenges that you face back home, and we miss being at home. It doesn't matter how long I lived in the US. Home is always the best. And so it's challenging to be in a foreign land, and yet the balancing of being in the US and you want to be in Kenya. And so a few years ago, I was talking to my mother and saying to her, I don't know whether I should move back to Kenya or just stay in the US. And she told me, son, you have two homes. Just enjoy both.
You have a home in Kenya and a home in the US.
Yes. And that liberated me. Because I discovered I don't have to ever move anywhere. I can just enjoy the two worlds. And I enjoy that. I enjoy that freedom of being able to commute back and forth. So to answer your question, it can be challenging for someone who is coming in, but it is also important that when you come in, you plug in with people who can help you. Of course, there's always bad apples that you find. So you may find someone that is not as friendly. I remember a family that I hosted once that they came to the airport, and the people who were supposed to host them never came for them. By the time I'm hosting them, they had been at the airport for 3 days.
3 days?
Yes, not knowing where to go.
Wow.
So there are those challenges. They don't know what to do and where to go. You're in a foreign land. And the people that committed and said, we're going to host you, they're nowhere to be found. So those are the many challenges that people go through. So finding someone who can help you, if you're visiting, if you're coming to the U.S., we've been there for quite some time. Our ministry, you can find us on our ministry. If you'd like us to help you, with any information that you may need, we'll be more than willing to help you. Yes,
that is it's quite challenging, especially that story of a family being at the airport for 3
days.
3 days, and they don't know where to go.
They have no idea where to go.
Are those cases often, or are they?
That's the first one that I found, but I've had cases like that. Yes, I've had cases like that.
Wow. And how is the Kenyan society in the diaspora? Are they united?
There is a level of unity, but every state is different. Remember, the U.S. is big, so every state is different. Some states, they are very tight community where people come together. But there's one thing that brings all Kenyans together. One thing, death. So when someone dies, people come together. They may not be united with many other things, but that one thing that brings people together. So there's that level of unity, but not in every state. Every state is different.
Wow.
And of course, there are a number of Kenyan churches which are thriving. Used to be a pastor of a Kenyan church for many years, about 15 years. But now I minister to African Americans.
Oh, you ministered to Kenyans?
I did.
For 15 years?
Yes.
So why did you move?
I did not move. It's interesting. It's difficult to merge those two communities together. Yes. Because when we are Kenyans in the U.S., we want to do things the way we do them in Kenya. That doesn't appeal to the Americans. And so I had a desire for many years. I thought if God sends me to the U.S. To minister, I'm sure He wants me also to minister to the Americans. And nothing against ministering to Kenyans in the U.S., which is good. It's important. I did that for many years because I can't deny myself.
Yeah.
But then it was difficult to merge the two communities together. And so for those many years, those 15 years of ministering to Kenyans, I never understood the culture of the African Americans, who are the people that actually came from Africa and went to the U.S., not because they wanted to, but because they were taken there as slaves. So I never knew their culture. I never knew who they were. But now, because of ministering to them, I've come to love them. I've come to know them, gone to their homes, ate their food, gone to their weddings, gone to their funerals, knew how they do, known how they do things, and how to minister to them. It's much easier for me because as a preacher then to our people Kenyans, I did everything. I was the attorney, I was a priest, I was a cleaner, I was a cook. I visited everyone in their homes, which was good. But then I worked out with the African Americans, and I discovered that they enjoy doing ministry. So my work is just to preach, and it becomes easy. It becomes so much easier.
Do they have a desire? Do the African Americans have a desire to come to Africa?
Absolutely, yes. We do have a ministry, a company that I started called African Israel Tours. So I usually bring them every year. The last 2 years, because of COVID, we haven't been able to come to Kenya, but I bring them in and bring them first to Kenya, where they're able to see the culture, where they're able to see the ministry here. They come and preach in Kenya. They come and volunteer themselves in the children's home. They're able to do the work of ministry here and eat the food, go to Mombasa, go to different places. And then usually I would take them to Egypt and then Israel and then fly them back. And many of them have a desire to come back again and again. And that is a and the agenda for that is to be able to bring them back to where they belong, to their own soil. A friend of mine, Bishop Townsend, said to them one time when German Americans want to go back home, they go back to Germany. When Russian Americans want to go back home, they go to Russia. When African Americans want to go back home, they go to South Carolina or North Carolina. And there's something wrong with that. Africa is where they come from. And so we do have a great call to bring them back home. And many of them are excited about it. And they are coming in big numbers. We are looking forward to bringing some in November.
Okay.
Just in Kenya. Yeah, just in Kenya.
Okay.
For 2 weeks. We are working on those dynamics. Many of them have requested to come just to Kenya, and we are looking forward to it.
How is the education system? How did your children adjust to the American system, and are they now Americanized?
They are still Kenyans, but the American system, the education in Kenya, I think, especially when it comes to university, it's important to pick up. It's all about the money. What I'm studying, because education is very expensive. If I'm studying this, it's not just to get a degree, but how is the job market for that? Because the end result is the work that you do. And so they studied. My daughter now is a human resource manager. She told me she works for 2 companies. My son is a preacher. I wonder where he got that from. Okay. Yeah, he does his ministry online, and he has a big audience there. And he's very faithful, very strong in ministry. That's what he wanted to do.
Okay.
And he is doing it effectively for many years. My daughter is...
you can tell your son to send his tithe to me. I'll bless it.
Absolutely. I'll let him know. I will let him know. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But they did do well. Education system is a little better, I would say. Easier. And when someone is, again, when someone knows what they want to achieve in the end, it becomes easier now to study along those lines.
We have many Kenyans in the US. Is there any organization that maybe keeps the figures, or the embassy that keeps the figures?
I believe the embassy keeps the figures. Yeah, the numbers are high, but I don't know offhand what the number is. But I'm sure the embassy must have the numbers. How accurate? I don't know.
You know, there's been this idea of some Kenyans in America looking at the politics in Kenya and saying, I want to go back and correct the politics. I want to go back and change. And as some of them have been quite disappointed.
Okay.
I don't know whether you have met any one of those who feel they need to change and they need to come and change the politics.
I have quite a bit. Quite a number of them. And it's a good desire.
Yeah.
Because when you're a Kenyan, when you wake up in the morning, you don't watch CNN. No, you watch the local television.
Okay.
So you are aware of what's happening. And some of those people who have a desire to be in politics, they want to come and make the change. How successful, I don't know. But I think that's a good desire for someone to be able to say, with what I have, I think I can make a change. I think my observation would be, if someone wants to be a part of the change that they want to see, they must come to the ground for at least 3 or 4 years before they decide to run for an office. So someone wants to be a member of parliament in a place. If they can go there and begin to know the people and begin to know the challenges that affect those people for a few years before the elections, I think it will be successful. Some of them have come in maybe 3 or 4 months before before the elections, and of course, no one can succeed that way. But I think it's a good desire. I think it is a good thing to bring change. It used to be when people go abroad to study that they will come back to Kenya and bring the change they want to see, because now they have the brains to do so. But now people stay away and they don't come back. So I think it's also a good thing to be able to come back. And the environment, from looking at how Kenya is, I think anybody that comes back now, they will be successful. The country is ready. The country is ready. The infrastructure is there. I believe the government has done so much, looking at the roads, looking at the network, looking at all the things that are happening in Kenya. I think anybody that wants to come and bring a change, this is the best time to come. I would really, really recommend someone to come back. They will not be disappointed.
Okay. Now let's come back to your ministry.
Okay.
You are ministering in the U.S. and you are ministering here. How do you connect the two? Your ministry in the U.S. and your ministry in Kenya?
I think for me, the gospel is the same. I stick to the simplicity of the gospel. So whatever I preach in the U.S. is what I preach here. And if I go to the village, it's the same thing I preach. But the dynamics are different. The U.S. church is, it's not a vibrant church. The Kenyan church is a vibrant church. And that makes a huge difference in how we bring the gospel. Because the gospel is like feeding a child. If a child is not willing to eat, you can only feed them but so much. But when a child is hungry, then the person who is feeding is more excited to feed them. But then it's completely different, ministering in Kenya and ministering in the U.S. in terms of the audience. But the gospel is the same.
When you look at the Kenyans in the U.S., a lot of them live in the U.S. but think in Kenya. For example, when they go shopping, somebody will look at a suit and say, this is costing $150. Then they want to convert it to
Kenyan shillings.
To Kenyan shilling.
It happened to me.
It did?
It happened to me for quite some years before I could discover that I'm not in Kenya now. I'm in the U.S.
So how did you change that?
I think it's just a change of mind. It's a change of mind, recognizing that I'm no longer in Kenya. Now I have to think differently.
Because there are many Kenyans who need to make that in the diaspora, who need to make that decision.
And the other challenge is when now I come to Kenya, 500 shillings doesn't have as much value. Or 1,000 shillings doesn't have as much value because I'm not converting it immediately into Kenyan shillings. Those are the challenges. Those are the challenges. Maybe before we close, I want to talk about investing.
Yes.
Investing.
I was to go into that.
Investing. I'd really highly recommend the opportunities that are here. There are huge opportunities as far as investing in land or investing in housing. But then, speaking to the people who live in the U.S., those of you that live in the U.S. that are watching, in as much as we want to invest in Kenya, which I highly recommend, I also recommend investing in the U.S. Because I had a case of a man who was dying of cancer in Maryland. And he had multiple apartments in Nairobi and no money in the US.
Oh.
And so he needs money for cancer treatment. But all the money that he has is in Kenya. And the only person that can sign for that money from the bank is a person that is sick.
Oh.
And so people have to fundraise for a man who has money, but he can't reach his own money.
Wow.
So in as much as people want to invest in Kenya, you're in the diaspora, you want to invest in Kenya, at least invest also in the US. But there's no limitation as to how much you can invest. So that now whatever is left over, you can invest it in Kenya. Because what's happening is, because people want so much to be in Kenya, they want to invest everything in Kenya in hope of coming back. But now, my children are in America. They're having their own children. If I decide to come back to Kenya after a few years, I may be limited because I don't want to leave my children. I don't want to leave my grandchildren. So my home really is where I am. And so in as much as someone wants to invest back in Kenya, recognize there may be limitation to how quickly you can get your money when you're so far away. Invest where you are, buy land where you are. People, I was in Texas. People are buying 50 acres of land. Kenyans.
Oh, Kenyans?
Yes.
Wow.
I have a friend of mine who has cows. He has oil in his land.
Wow.
He's Kenyan. He has cows, he has goats. He has a big piece of property there. So people are realizing that where we are, we have to make this our home. But then because of the people selling to the diasporas, which is good. I'm a businessman. And telling them, all those things are good. But then if someone doesn't have anything to fall back to, if that person is no longer there, my children, if I have land here, and if I'm the only one that knows about it, they may never know how to pursue that property, even though it's theirs.
Yeah.
Because this is a foreign land. They live in the US.
Wow.
So those are the challenges. So I think I would encourage people, yes, invest in Kenya, but invest also in the US. I'm not discouraging anyone from investing, but invest also in the US so that at least your children have something to fall back to, and you also have something to fall back to, and you also can live a comfortable life. Yeah.
In our constitution, we have the right to dual citizenship.
Yes.
Do you think this has been of any help or much help?
I do not know. I do not know. Not even sure how that is recognized under the U.S. government. I don't know how that works. I don't know how beneficial that is. But look, you can buy anything you want to buy, whether you are Kenyan living in the U.S. and you don't have dual citizenship. As long as you have the documentation to buy whatever you want to buy, you can buy.
Yeah.
And someone can buy whatever they want to buy here, as long as you have people to help you do that. So the dual citizenship may be helpful, but doesn't limit someone from investing.
Well, this is quite interesting.
Yes.
Because you see, when someone leaves Kenya and goes, especially to the US, we normally say they have gone over the small Calvary, the valley of poverty.
Yes.
I don't know whether you face the Kenyans in their diaspora face poverty, or there are Kenyans who are having some hard times in the diaspora.
A lot of hard times. We have homeless people. In my city, we have Kenyans who are homeless.
Homeless?
Yes, who are lost in drugs and alcohol addiction. So they have no place to live. They live in shelters. We've had to do fundraising for some people who are addicted to be taken back to Kenya. And some of them have reformed. Yeah, we have some people who are really, really struggling, just like any other country. Again, if someone doesn't have work ethic, the location doesn't change them. If someone doesn't have the work ethic, they will be the same people wherever they are.
So somebody said, if you are a lizard
Yes.
in Kenya, you cannot be a crocodile.
You still be a lizard.
Just because you got into a plane.
Yes.
You will still remain a lizard.
That is true.
Oh, okay.
That is true.
Okay.
That is true.
There are many Kenyans who would like to go to the US and live there. How would you prepare a Kenyan who is migrating to the US if you had an opportunity and you met with somebody who has told you, I want the green card, I'm supposed to be traveling to the US, what advice would you give to them?
Well, let me tell you a story.
Yes.
I talk with stories.
Yes, sir.
I told you I had a home health agency.
Yes.
And I was hiring people to go and work. I get paid based on how many hours they work out there. So I hired this one lady, and she worked. I sent her to somebody's house to do cleaning and do the laundry. So when she was supposed to come for her paycheck, I asked, "Where is so and so?" I was told she's no longer here. What do you mean she's no longer here? And then I was told she took her return ticket and went back to Kenya.
Oh.
Because what she thought about the US, when she landed there, she discovered it's not what it is. She only worked for me. She never even came back for her paycheck.
Wow.
She discovered I cannot do this. She had wanted a green card together with her family. And she said to the family, let me go and get things in place, find out how it is, and then you guys can come back later. After 1 week, she called them. And she said to them, don't even dare. Wow. You are not coming here. This is why. She had a house in Lavington. Okay? She was a bank manager. The husband was working for a big corporation. Okay? They are living well. The children are going to private schools. Then now, to sell all that so that they can go and settle and begin afresh. Wow. She discovered that was not for her. She was already doing it. And so sometimes I think there's misconception, thinking that my life will be better if I come out of this to that. Not recognizing the sacrifice that you're paying. Yeah. Is it worth it? Migrating those children. If you're already doing well, what's the point of going? Just because you have a green card doesn't mean that you have to go.
Wow.
Okay.
And there's so many people who are looking for that green card.
Yes. And now if someone gets a green card and they want to come, there's a big opportunity. Number one, do your study. Do your own personal study. Find out how life is. Find someone who is already there, who can give you advice on where to begin. Of course, when you begin, everybody begins ground level. Yeah. Nobody begins up. Yeah. The biggest thing is, it doesn't matter how old you are, it's important to go to school. It's important to go to school. I had to do that. I had to do finance. I had to do real estate. In fact, before I came, I was doing a class on real estate. Oh. Why? Because I have to stay up. I have to abreast. Yes. If I don't know what's going on because I don't have the education needed, then I become good for no one. So once someone comes to the US and they are willing to go back to school, regardless of how old they are, I've seen people who are in their 60s, in their 70s, going back to class and studying, even if it's a short course of 6-7 months or 1 year, it betters them, their income. Because the more knowledge you have, the more you get paid. Yes. So it may sound like someone getting $15 an hour is a lot of money, but if you're not spending it in Kenya, you're spending it in the US, it's not enough. But because there are still people who are earning $500 an hour in the same country. Wow. So the idea of climbing the ladder, it only requires someone to pay the price of educating themselves.
Wow. Well, I want to say thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Steve,
you.
for coming.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you on Open Talk.
Yes, sir.
It's been very educative, very informing, and some correction that has come.
Yes.
For someone to make up their minds.
Yes.
Because if they don't make up their minds, someone may end up regretting. And to our viewers, I want to say thank you so very much for being with us. May the Lord richly bless you. Steve lives in Delaware.
Yes.
In Delaware. I've been to Wilmington, yes. Wilmington,
yes,
Delaware.
Yes. I'm like 10 minutes away from Wilmington City.
Okay. I should have come to see you.
Absolutely. You still will come. You still come.
Thank you so very much. Those of you who want to travel to America and you want help from Steve, you can get him, and he will give you advice on what to do when you get to the United States of America, and maybe in any other country outside Kenya. You need help. Parents, don't just send your children to America and forget them there. Find out what they are doing, and then always remember, there is no tree that produces the dollar as a fruit. Everybody has got to work and work hard to get some money. If your daughter or your cousin or your nephew, your niece or a friend is sending you money to build for them, please be faithful. Do it for them. That is their whole life that they are giving. They are sacrificing. Don't just go and squander the money and take pictures from wherever and send them false pictures. That is called lying. And you are not supposed to be a liar. Anyway, for tonight, this is your pastor and your friend, Bishop Mark Karaoke, coming to you through Open Talk, and telling you, you talk or I talk or we hear one another. God bless you. We'll see you again this coming Wednesday. Amen.